Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Tina Peterson.
You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
How's it going, Tina?
It's going good. Hi, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start out. Who is Tina?
So I am Tina Peterson. I'm the team leader of the Tina Peterson team at Real Estate One. I have been doing real estate since 2009, and I started my team in 2016.
Okay.
Nice.
So ever growing.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, so let's start back when you were little. Do you want to be an agent when you grew up?
So when I was little, I would say I wanted to be a princess, like every little girl, right?
Okay.
No, I actually, as I came into my late teenage years, all I really wanted to be was a mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 4 children, and I did everything I could to stay home with them when I was raising them. I wanted to make sure that I was the main caregiver for them.
Yep.
So I babysat other people's children, waited tables. I think I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I owned a trucking company at one time.
Oh, wow.
I drove, yeah, that's kind of a story, but I drove a school bus. So I've done a lot of different things, cleaned houses. And I say cleaned houses, but that was where I say the entrepreneur of me even started then, because it was really running my own company. I didn't work for anybody else. I just did it for myself. And yeah.
How old were your...
I think that spirit's always been there.
Yeah. How old were your kids when you started in real estate?
So they were all grown up. I think my youngest son was still at home. He was probably about 17, maybe. So they were older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. So how'd you get from doing kind of wanting to be a princess and then going to having a trucking company and then going into real estate? Tell us about how that journey went.
So the trucking company, let me tell you a little bit about that story.
Okay.
I drove school bus. So I did everything that I could along the way. So when the kids got a little bit older, I drove school bus. They would get on the school bus with me. I would take them to school, drop them off, go back, and then they would get on the bus with me in the afternoon. So I really wanted to make sure that I was that person for them, the mom that I wanted to be. So as they got older, I kind of a long story, but to keep, there was a little bit of darkness to it, but after 17 years of marriage, I got divorced and didn't know what to do with myself because I had been married. You know, I went from being 18 years old to getting married to having kids at 20. And so I immediately bounced back and remarried somebody that I didn't really know and took out a home equity loan on my house to buy a dump truck for him. And so when the divorce came, I ended up with the dump truck. Yeah. So after a little bit of what are you going to do with that thing? And that's one thing my dad always said about me. If you want to see me really excel at something, tell me I can't do it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So sure enough, I already had my CDL, which I used for driving school bus. Mm-hmm. And so I used that and started driving the dump truck and eventually hired some people. That was when I lived in Cincinnati, Ohio. So when I moved up here, I sold it, but it was a successful business for sure.
What got you in real estate? So you went from that position to real estate?
Well, I went from that to, I moved here and drove school bus for Howell schools for a little while.
Okay.
I cleaned houses for a little while here. And then I just decided, I had more time on my hands and needed to figure out what I was going to be when I grew up. So I decided to do real estate. And, my passion has always been working with people. I love working with people. Mm-hmm. So, and this is, the perfect job. I always said I wanted to be somebody that helped people when they were getting married, because that's such a happy time. But honestly, buying houses is a happy time for them too. So yeah, the journey just kind of led into doing real estate. And I knew right from the very first deal that I did and seeing the happiness and the smiles and the excitement that was what I wanted to do for a long time. So this is where I've been since 2009.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's been your most memorable experience with real estate so far? It can be good or bad.
I don't know if I can pinpoint one memorable experience. I've had a lot of them. Let me think about that for a minute. I would say, so I've come across some amazing people. I've made some wonderful friends. the team, I think, is amazing. When I was doing real estate individually,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much a control freak. So nobody can do it as good as me. So, when it got to be too busy and I couldn't take care of my clients the way that I felt they should be taken care of, that was when I started reaching out and building the team. And it's been an amazing experience building the team. I've got some awesome members, and I know we do a lot of social media, and people constantly ask me, are you guys really that close, from the pictures that we post? And that's, one of the things, obviously pictures,
Mm-hmm.
you never know if that's really the true person, but we really are that close. We're a family for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
important.
that's
to
been
have
a
with
good,
the team.
that's been a great experience having the team and growing that and being able to help more people.
Yeah. So when you started out, like when you first brought on that first person, how did that go?
So it went really well. It was a past client. So she had reached out to me and said, hey, thinking about getting into real estate. And I said, you know what, you'd be amazing at it. And I'm thinking about growing my team. How about we get together? So put her through the classes, and she got her license. And she just I started doing this in 2016. And about 6 months ago, she finally spread her wings and went off on her own.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing. She was a great agent, and it's been learning, and it's still a learning process even as we go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
how many people do you have right now on your team?
Mm-hmm.
I have 7 agents on my team.
Nice. Where you guys normally, where's your business like normally? Where's the general most of your business at?
Oh, that's a good question. So my business mostly, and I would say, is Livingston County. That's where I started off, but it's not really. Like, I have a listing coming up in Royal Oak, which is Oakland County. 2 of the agents that I have live in the Royal Oak, Madison Heights area. I had one in Ann Arbor, one that lives in Fowlerville. I actually live in Chelsea, although I don't do a lot of business in Chelsea. My business has always been based in this area. So mostly I'd say Livingston County, but we venture all over Livingston, Ingham, Washtenaw, Oakland. Not a whole lot of Wayne County.
Awesome.
When you first started out in real estate, did you have a mentor, or did you kind of just like go into it solo?
Nope, I went into it solo.
Okay.
And I remember my very first deal, I went to my manager and I said, hey, can you help me with this? And she said, you're going to learn by doing. So, and that's one of the things that it was a little tough on me. I had a lot of people that would pop their head in and say, hey, how you doing? Do you have any questions? But not really a mentor. And that's one of the things that I would definitely give any agent that's starting off now advice on is, and especially in the market. I started in 2009. That was kind of the downturn. Everybody else was running away from real estate. And me being me was running towards it. So I would definitely say that it's important to have a mentor and to have somebody guide you, especially in the market that we're in. There's just so many nuances of real estate that it is important to have somebody help guide you a little bit. That was the one thing. If I could change anything about my career, I probably would have done something with a mentor for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good learning experience if you have one, definitely.
Yeah.
I know I've talked to a lot, and I know I've talked to a lot of agents, and I know that's kind of one of the big things that, I mean, any kind of business, you're just like, I mean, pretty much any kind of business in general, you're just like, no, I got this figured out. I know I can do how to do this. But then you probably look back at it and you're like, we could probably have some help at the beginning. Then you would have succeeded a lot better. Right. I mean, of course you're doing really well, but we probably would have exceeded faster just because of that. So that's awesome. So what kind of,
and it's a scary thing to deal with. I mean, that's the largest investment they have is their house. And there's a lot of legalities to it. So to just dive into it. I mean, I know we go through the training, but it's not the same as doing it. Yeah. So, I've made mistakes and I've paid for them, usually directly out of my pocket, paid for them.
Yep.
But that's what you do. That's how you learn. Luckily it hasn't been anything, major, at least when I was newer. It wasn't anything major to where it couldn't be taken care of.
When you were new, did you tell your clients that you were new? You're like, hey, this is like my first transaction.
So funny story. No,
okay.
No, usually we don't do that. But one of my very first clients, and I'm still friends with her, this many years later, she was relocating from Atlanta. And I had several conversations with her on the phone, on the email. And when it came down to it, and she was ready to come to Atlanta or come to Michigan from Atlanta and look at some houses, she said, everybody tells me I should interview my agent. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? I go, no, go ahead, shoot them. And so the very first question is, how long have you been doing this?
Yeah.
And the answer was 6 months.
Yeah.
And of course, you're not going to lie to her. So I said to her, I've only been doing it for 6 months, but I promise you, I'll take care of you. Any answers that I don't have, any questions that I don't have the answers to, I will make sure that I ask somebody and get those answers. And I ended up being her agent for the first home she bought. I was her agent selling that house, and then I was her agent purchasing her home. And actually, I introduced her and her husband because her husband was the builder of the house that she purchased. So yeah,
Well, that's a fun story.
Matchmaker, true matchmaker, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
Businesswoman and a matchmaker.
There you go. I think that's going to be my new tag.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
So what kind of goals do you have heading forward in the next 5 years for your team?
So the goals heading forward are just to continually grow the team, continually learn. There's always something new to learn every day.
Yeah.
Taking care of our clients. I'm very involved in the community, and I think you guys know this. I am president of the Blue Star Service Dogs, which is a nonprofit that rescues dogs, preferably from high kill shelters, but from shelters. And we have prison training programs, and we place the dogs in the prison training programs for 6 months to a year and train them to be service dogs for veterans. So I'm very involved with that. We do, community fundraisers with that, as well as other things in the community. We try to include our local business people in anything we do, whether it's a get together. We just had Pictures with Santa for Christmas for, the local community. We've done a blood drive. We've done a local theater client appreciation event. So when we do those things, we try to incorporate people from our local businesses. So whether they make cookies, whether they're photographers, all different business owners to try to help promote local businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is your puppy one of the rescues? My
puppy is entertainment for one of my rescues.
Okay.
So no, but my oldest dog is, yes.
Okay.
I've had him for 2 years. He is my foster failure. He was a flunky. Best dog I've ever had, but he just has a lot of energy and he's obsessed with feet. So of course you can't give him as a service dog if he's going to attack your feet every time you move.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For sure.
But I just got him a new little puppy because he's got a lot of energy. And when we went, on COVID and the lockdown, and we couldn't, my dogs are my kids. So I take them twice a day or twice a week to a doggy daycare. And so when COVID hit and the doggy daycare closed down, my husband and I looked at each other and went, we got to do something because we don't have enough energy to entertain this dog. So that's where the puppy came along. Yeah.
Do you think it's helping so far?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I've always heard
they both have a lot of energy, but they entertain each other. And she's only, I want to pick her up, but she's kind of
you can show her
on my feet.
Yeah.
But she's only 10 weeks old, and he's 42 pounds. She's probably going to be about 60 inches, but she's definitely the bully.
Yeah.
she tells him like it is. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's awesome. We did a day, took photos of a daycare for dogs. I remember that it was pretty big one. I just remember looking around all the places. I was like, man, some of these dogs.
Right.
Did it make you want to
They're
take
like
the
spoiled.
dogs home? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, how did the lockdown affect your business, and how did you because right after it, I know it pretty much kept going back uphill again. So, how does that affected you, good or bad?
So, at first it was very scary. It was we had just opened our office. So in fact, we hadn't even opened our office. We had just taken the keys to our office February 1st, and we were getting it ready to open. And that's when,
that was
COVID hit.
The week. The shutdown.
Yeah. And it locked down. And of course, we're in our own building and we've got our own expenses. And so it was pretty scary, to say the least. It gave us a little bit of time to adjust and get the building ready for people. But the first month, I would say, was a little scary. It slowed down a little bit. Actually, it slowed down quite a bit, but we were able to do virtual showings. Luckily, the people that I had listings on, they were occupying the property. So we would have them do the video on their end.
Mm-hmm.
So it did slow down probably for about a month, but then boy, it just skyrocketed. It went crazy. So we had our record year this year. In fact, we just had our awards last year. And of course, you know, everybody's all freaked out and scared about what's going to happen. And we definitely were blessed. We learned to adapt. There was a lot of things you had to do differently to, you know, to be able to service your clients. But yeah, that's the key to real estate at all. Doesn't matter if it's pandemic or not, is adapting, right?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was kind of how it was. Like for like the first month, I remember people are like, vacation time. And then for the next month, the month after that, you're like, well, I guess it's time to figure out actually what we got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think
and,
that kind of,
and photographers were, you know, obviously an integral part of that at that point, because how else were they going to be able to see the house? You know?
Yeah, for sure. I remember we edited a lot of your photos. Homeowners took them.
I know.
Sent them over to us.
I have to apologize for that.
It's all good. We took care of you. We had you taken care of.
You're like, yeah, she's not a photographer.
Like whatever you send over, we'll work with.
Yeah, did a great job. In fact, I kind of told you this. I think I did a show last week for a past client, and that was the first thing he said to me. Your photographers were amazing, and like I said, it wasn't always that way. We had to, you know, we did some of our own. You can kind of tell that when you look at people's photography, you go, oh, that's not professional photography. So it took us a little while to find you guys, but you guys are absolutely amazing and definitely an integral part of our business for sure.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. How can people get a hold of you?
So I have a website, ttps.to. That's probably the easiest way to find all of the contact information. They can reach out to me on my phone, 734-306-5964, or tina@tinapetersonteam.com.
Sweet.
Okay. Awesome.
We got one last question for you.
Yeah. What is the best book that you think you've read recently or in the past? Do you have a favorite or audiobook? Anything like that?
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I had to read a book. I would say magazines on the airplane when we were on vacation.
Oh yeah,
was probably about the most time.
Yeah.
I used to be a big Stephen King fan.
Okay.
And I'd say I still am. That's probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's been a long time since I made it from, you know, front to the back of a book. I'll start it and then I get too many other things happening.
Same here. I get distracted. I
Yeah,
start
I
it
don't
and
sit still
I
very
never
much.
finish it. Yeah. Unless it's an audiobook, then I can.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've learned to listen to them in my car
Oh, yeah.
because we're in our car a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've learned to listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that in my car.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on today. We really enjoyed having you on. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. You guys are fantastic and I appreciate all you do for us.
Yep. Thanks.
Are these working?
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Find
it. It's red.
Yeah. And it's blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah, I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review for listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take 4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
I don't think this is working.
This is not working.